Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another analysis here at Financial Hub. Another week, another day, another midweek. Okay, so we did the first. I didn't do analysis on Monday, so I believe Ken did it and took you guys through a few pairs here and there. But today, I'm going to do the analysis. I don't think Ken will do. He's out doing other things, so I'll cover in and I'll look at a few pairs here and there. What trades we have running? What am I looking at? Let's note today, later on in the day, is FOMC. So we have FOMC news coming later on today, which is basically the interest rates, where Fed Powell, Jay Powell, is going to talk about the projections, how the economy is, inflation, all that. So that's later on today at 9 p.m. So at night, be on alert, especially if you're a dollar trade, if you trade the dollar pairs. So pay attention to that, okay? That's at 9 p.m. Kenyan time. But before that, I'll do a few analysis. I have some trades running. Really looking forward to see what the news today will do to the market. But I'm not really a heavy fundamental trader, more or less technicals. But I'll look at a few things here and there. I'll share with you my screen, my analysis, and see what's going up, okay? So if I share my screen... There we go. So let's start with USD CAD, or more or less, let's start with dollar index, okay? What am I looking at on dollar index before I conclude anything on the other pairs? What's looking on the dollar? So the dollar, I have different scenarios that I'm looking at, okay? Especially today evening, I think might act as a catalyst to either one of those two things happening, okay? If I start from the daily chart, daily chart, I've been following the trend, the long-term trend, okay? So long-term trend, what we've been analyzing ever since Corona started and interest rates were lowered, the stimulus checks started coming into people's bank accounts, we've been moving to the downside, okay? So personally, it came down here. I believe this was more or less of a correction. Long-term, I was looking for market to move to the downside, okay? But if you look at the short term, we cannot ignore the fact that market, as I've been saying, has been forming higher highs and higher lows. So you can see this higher low, higher low. Unless we start taking off and breaking below these levels is when market will continue to the downtrend. But for now, you're seeing this higher low. We might get also another higher high to the upside, okay? To respect this channel formation yet again, I mean this flag formation that we're seeing up here, this major one, okay, this ABC, a major touch of this level before we move to the downside. So that's one scenario. If you look at the 4 hour, there's this boundary I was looking at, okay? This boundary here. So you see this resistance. We had a break to the upside, a break back below, we retested it again, then market moved to the downside. So that confirmed that that was a major level, but now we came and broke it yet again. Market is sort of dangling around that region, okay? So today, what I'm saying, I believe might act as a catalyst. Either this support level will really hold and market will push to the upside to head to those levels we're talking about up here. Or another scenario that may occur is that the market might break to the downside using the news as a catalyst and market to move all the way lower to continue with the long-term downward trend, okay? So I have those two scenarios in my head playing out. So either dollar strength might come in or dollar weakness. I can't really tell. I'll just wait to see what market is going to do later on in the day, okay? If you see market consolidating here for most of the time during the day today, then just know one way or another, more or less we're waiting for that news to come out fast so that people can know which direction of the trade to take, okay? So that's what I have on this one now. What do I expect in the market? What trades do I have running? I shared one on Discord that I took on Monday. So Monday market started off with a lot of momentum to the upside. You can see this. Market started off with momentum to the upside all the way to that level. We got that sort of close with that wick to the upside, sort of similar to what we had here before. And then market started moving to the downside. So immediately we had that close in line with this formation you're looking at over here. I took a short trade, okay? Short trade with a good risk reward, about 1:5. So quite a good solid risk reward. So what you need to pay attention to, market moved down. Yesterday we saw a lot of dollar strength coming in. If you are trading the dollar pairs, I'm sure you saw it. This was USD CAD. The other pairs really moved to the downside. And what am I talking about? That's GU, EU, Euro USD, GBP USD, Aussie dollar, such pairs, okay? But this is a normal move I've seen in USD CAD a lot of times. You know, USD CAD is affected both by the dollar as well as oil, okay? So it's easy to see these spikes. You can see this spike here, this spike here, this spike here, okay? Happens quite often, quite a lot. So this spike back here, they normally go to extremes, and then all of a sudden market turns to the opposite side. So what am I looking at? Market moved to the downside, came back, rejected that level yesterday evening, and then market has been moving. The better part of today, we've been in bearish territory. Market is down negative around 0.2% for the day, okay? So we are here to see. So I'm really open on this one to see what will happen during FOMC later on in the evening. We can get some spikes to the upside, okay? We can get some spikes to move to the upside before we move down, or we can get even a move to go straight upwards without even turning back down. Or another thing that may happen, we might see the market spiking the downside or moving much lower. That news acting as a catalyst. So I have this trade running. I really didn't want to be heavy on my positions due to that interest rates decisions coming later on. So I have minimal risk on this one, as well as Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, I took a long position last evening during New York. There was a really good trade to the downside yesterday, okay? A very good trade. If you look at this pattern over here, so as well, this one market started with some momentum. We saw this sort of like a flag formation to the upside. We've been having multiple flags on this one. If you look, we got one here, market moved down here. We got another one here. This one quite failed, and then we got this one to the downside. So market didn't really disturb. Once that entry was hit, you can see market went straight all the way to TP, and then market started moving further up. So what I was looking at market rejecting Monday's lows, okay? So this Monday lows acting quite as a support, acted as support here before. Remember, I keep saying I like looking at support levels which pushed markets to new highs. This was one of them. Market went to the upside, then came down, got that first rejection. That was on a Monday. Market moved up, came back down on a Tuesday, and later on in the evening I was expecting to see if we can get some move to the upside. You can see my stops are quite below the support level, okay? So I'll be watching to see how that one will work, as well as this one. Same thing I'm looking at. Same thing can happen during FOMC. We can get a move to the downward spike. So how have I protected myself? Since we're still at entry, if market had moved quite a significant level to my side, I'd have broken even on that trade, so that if anything happens during FOMC, I can get stopped out at break even. But since it's not, and I knew yesterday if I take that trade, market wouldn't have moved much, I took a very minimal risk on this trade as well. If market moves to my side, I'll add into that momentum, okay? And if you just take this, it's more or less also like a channel formation, okay? So it's more or less like this. So this is the trade I took, okay? So it's more or less like that. That's what I'm watching. Let me not squeeze things too much. There we go. So you can see that rejection. You can see it better on the 1 hour. Let me make it visible down there. It's actually visible. 1 hour chart. There you go. So here you go. It's the pattern that actually formed, okay? It's the one that formed. You can see it's quite a clear channel, sort of like a river. Market moving, bouncing off the sides, okay? We got that bounce to this side. This is what I was actually looking for, a good buy. I didn't get it. Market moved fast, so moved quite fast. So when you got that correction back down, I was like, let me now get this position in with a good risk reward of 1:4, okay? So that's what I'm looking at. I'll be paying attention to that later on today. But remember, note what I've said. I'm really open to see what will happen in the market. Some spike may come, okay, to the downside, which I'll accept it and take that small loss. However, if market acts as a catalyst to break this counter trend line to the upside, then it will work in my favor. On the other hand, what are we looking at? Dow Jones acting. I remember I had some pattern formation I was looking at. I had a flag formation I was looking at that I was looking to buy, okay, some time back. If you've been paying attention to my analysis, there's a flag formation. I was looking for something like this, but I did not take that trade. You can see how strongly it was broken, okay? So that's what sometimes it's really good to wait for an indication, a confirmation to get into a trade before you just buy. Once this breakout came, I stayed out of that trade, and I believe this was last week actually, not even this week. That was last week. I did not think about it. So if you go to the 1 day chart, I readjusted my trend line. Okay, so you can even see I've written it down there. Readjusted my trend line to look at potential support levels, which I think I've gotten a much better one, what you can see here, using that as a first touch, and more or less it was also in parallel with this upper line. Okay, so you can see that touch, we can get potential spikes to the downside, which as well, like what I'm saying, FOMC might act as a catalyst. Market might move to the downward strongly. That's why I'm really against the trades I have. I'm quite skeptical about them. But you cannot trade your speculations. I'm trading what my system is telling me to trade, okay? But what is showing me over here, personally, what I think we can get some spikes, some dollar strength to the downside before that weakness comes in and the Dow Jones starts moving higher. So if this market is able to drop to this level, I think these are best levels to buy it. It was a previous support level. Like what I was saying, I like looking at previous support levels that pushed markets into new highs. It's just like a rocket. It was able to hold it strong enough, and market went all the way to new all-time highs. So I'll be looking at that level again and see how market is going to respect it. I think this one on US 30 is quite a solid analysis that may work out. As you can see over here on my right, it's actually on my radar. So what do I have on my watch list? Gold. It's on my watch list because I don't have anything much on it. Nothing really, and I don't force any analysis. Looking at the 4 hour, I'm just doing some analysis, just preparing myself. Always look at it as well. Still, everything on my watch list, I'll have to look at it every day after every 4 hours. So that's what I'm watching. I don't have anything much. Just looking at a trend line that may hold this market over here. If I draw that, yeah. So just watch what will happen on this one. Nothing solid, even on the 1 hour chart. Nothing crazy or nothing solid. So yeah. So that's what I have on gold. Oil yesterday formed a good buy opportunity. This was on what is it called? On UK oil. More or less better than the one that was formed on US oil over here. So you can see this so you can see this first impulse, a correction, impulse, a correction. You can see that was a good correction in line with retesting the resistance level, which was quite strong. You can see this resistance. We broke it, acted as a strong support. Market shot up, came in the form of a flag. If you look at the 1 hour chart, much more clear. You can see that quite clean, quite precise. This was a strong support level. Market shot all the way after that. And you know, commodities, once they start moving in one direction, it's very hard for them to stop. So also this one, and this is sort of what helped also USD CAD, because USD CAD is a commodity pair in line with oil, to push the market, the USD CAD to the lower side, and this one started moving upper. Okay, so same thing on this one. We can get more momentum to the upside. I'll be looking at this UK oil. Okay, US oil is sort of something similar, but it wasn't that clear of a flag. Okay, even if I draw it, if you want to see it, it wasn't as clear as the one. So you can sort of get something like that, but I prefer the one that formed on the US or UK oil Brent. Much better. Okay. So yeah, so if this momentum continues, we might see also US oil continuing to the upside with momentum coming in, okay, later on, especially during New York session. That's what happens with oil. Most of its momentum is traded within the US session, okay, later on at between 4 and 8 p.m. Kenyan time. So yeah, so that's mainly what's on my my pairs. What I'm looking at on other pairs currencies, just a brief overview. Euro USD, I think I saw some momentum coming into the morning, but like I said, this one you can see a lot of sideways movement over here. I'm sure most of the momentum or direction of the trend will be established later on in the evening, and I believe once the established trend is formed in the evening, later on in the week, I think we might continue with that direction. If it's to the downside, if it's to the upside, it might stay for quite some time. Okay, EJ, nothing much. I never look at EJ, let me not lie. Euro USD as well, forming a good flag as well. Okay, a good flag, if you call it a channel, a good flag. You can see this impulse. This movement to the upside is not as strong as expected if market is to continue to the upside. If you zoom it out, it's more or less a head and shoulder formation. So you can see this left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Okay, so you see this, like what you're seeing here, this sort of momentum. Market wasn't picking up quite strong, even if it broke the previous high. Let me show you. Even if it broke this previous high over here, that momentum that market was forming in the form of I'm pretty sure it was more or less like this one. So let's confirm. So it's the same analogy you're looking at right now. Okay, if I draw something of the sort, there you go. Perfect. So you can see that momentum. Okay, look at that drop immediately back lower. Same thing that's happening over here. As much as market is moving to the upside, there's no momentum. Same thing if you do the opposite side. So we're always looking for momentum, especially in the direction of the trend. You can see to the downside, we came with that slowing down of momentum. Wasn't a perfect channel, but market went further up. You want to be seeing such momentum if the market is to continue to new highs or new lows. Okay, so this can be another head and shoulder formation with potential movement to move to the lower side. So I think EA is quite a good one on that one. Good analysis. But we'll see how it plays off by Friday. NZD USD market really fell, especially after respecting this trend line for the third time. Okay, if I zoom it out, if you want to see it clearly, just expand. You can see this extended. So you can see that triangle. You can see that trend line. So you can see that first touch, second touch, third touch. Market gained momentum to the downside and really fell on that one. So I remember last week I shared some trade over here. We had a sort of sideways movement in the form of a flag and was expecting it to move upper to the higher side. However, as market happens sometimes, the market fell and it didn't go as planned. So also this one I'll be sitting out and watch. I'm not seeing any solid pattern forming. Aussie dollar already covered it. NZD JPY, I don't have much on that as well. GU, same thing as well on this one. Maybe what you can look at is sort of like looks like a triangle formation is forming, sort of. Okay, so but pay attention to it. I don't trade triangles, so if you do trade triangles, you can have a better analysis on it, but you can pay attention to that. It's sort of like the triangle you spotted in USD card some time back, and it was quite solid. When was it? Last week. So you can watch that analysis. Market can break to the downside or respect that support and push market to the upper side. Okay, GJ, I think Taras, if you know Discord chat, Taras does this more or less. I don't do it myself. GA, USD JPY, we had a crazy drop on USD JPY yesterday. So yesterday we had this weakness, okay, some yen strength. I believe, when was it? I think it's today or it was yesterday. I don't trade yen pairs, but they're also meant to release their interest rates. Let's see. Looking at trading economics for what they have. One sec. I think it was today morning. Let's see. Not really. Wednesday. Tuesday, POJ. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it was today morning. Okay, yeah, that was today morning. I think that's what has given this a bit of momentum to the upside. But yeah, that was today morning. We had some interest rates, but also this one, looking at the formation over here, I was more or less looking for bearish plays rather than buys. If you look at the daily chart, it's more or less more bearish than it is bullish. Okay. So I think that's it. That's much from what I have. Those ones that I've just done were just a recap, a short recap of what I was looking at. I see Alex Washira asking a recap on gold, so I'll just do that one quite fast. But I don't have anything much. It's on my watch list. It's not on my radar. So like I said, I don't have any solid analysis on this one, Alex. That's what I said with the team earlier on. I won't lie to you, I don't have anything on this one, unlike what I have on the currencies and the US oil. So I don't have anything much on this one. For me, there's no solid pattern yet forming. I can't see anything. I remember early on in the week as well, I was looking for a short trade. I was looking for a buy trade, okay? Early on in the last week, I was looking for this ABC correction to this level, but just like Dow Jones, this one as well broke. And once my pattern is broken, I don't force any trade. So I stepped out of that one, and I'll be watching to see what forms later on. So I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Quite solid, quite simple, and nothing out of the blues. So yeah, so if no one has any question, I think I'll end it there. I hope you guys enjoyed. I see a good number tuned in, and yeah, keep your trading simple, straight to the point. Don't think too much. Too much analysis leads to paralysis. So keep it simple and analyze well. So that's it from me. I'll join you guys on Friday. We do a recap of how FOMC performed. If you're in our Discord group, we'll cover it up later on in the evening or tomorrow morning after the dust has settled, and see what has happened. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on Friday. So have a good time. Peace.